Computer role-playing games, the CRPG. It is perhaps the most intimidating genre in the gaming world. Hundreds of statics, complex rules, invisible dice rolls, and the constant fear of did I make the wrong choice? As players, how do we learn these complex systems? Or rather, how do games teach them us? Today, we will analyze three giant titles spanning nearly 30 years of history. The 1997 classic Fallout, the legend Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, and the modern masterpiece Baldur's Gate 3. We will seek answers to these questions. How do they describe how to play? Do they have separate tutorial missions? Is the explain clear enough? And finally, do they introduce mechanics gradually or dump them all at once? We are witnessing an evolution from read the manual to learn by playing. Let's start with the oldest one, right after nuclear apocalypse. Our first stop is 1997. Fallout, a post-nuclear role-playing game. You start outside Vault 13. Does the game tell you what to do? No. How to move? No. How to open the inventory? Absolutely not. Inside the game, the only tutorial is static help screen accessed by pressing F1. It only shows key bindings, but it doesn't explain what action points are or why you keep missing the routes. Why? Because in 90s the philosophy was read FM. Read the manual. The real tutorial wasn't in the game. It was in the box. The Vault Dweller's Survival Guide. When we analyze this PDF, we see the static approach. The manual is written as a guidebook for Vault Dwellers. It explains radiation, skills, and combat with humor. To answer our analysis questions. 1. How do they describe how to play? Not in game. They rely entirely on external manual. 2. Is there a separate tutorial mission? No. The Red Cave is technically a precise area, but it offers no guidance, sink or swim situation. 3. Are they clear enough for a modern player? No. Without reading the PDF, understanding the interface is trial and error. 4. Pacing. It is all at once. From second one, you are responsible for every mechanic. Let me describe my first 10 minutes in Fallout regarding the Red Cave. It was frustrating. I started outside the vault with a 10mm pistol and a knife. I entered the dark cave. A giant rat approached me. I clicked on it to shoot. The next log said, "You missed." I clicked again. "You missed." Suddenly, I was out of action points. I couldn't move, I couldn't shoot. The rat bit me. I tried to open my inventory to use a stim pack, but I didn't know which button it was. The game didn't tell me that the cave was dark and my perception was low. It didn't tell me that standing closer would increase my hit chance. I just stood there, missing shots, until I died to a rat. This trial by fire was the tutorial. Let's move 1998, Baldur's Gate. Here the approach shifts dramatically. Instead of a lonely cave, we start in Candlekeep, a heavily guarded library. This is a designated safe zone. The game uses NPCs called tutors, the monks in green robes, to teach you. They break the fourth wall. A monk literally tells you, press the button A to open your inventory, regulating our criteria. 1. Is there a separate tutorial? Yes, effectively. Candlekeep is an integrated tutorial level. The story starts here, but you are protected from the real world until you live with Gorion. Is it clear enough? It is much clearer than Fallout. You don't have to read manual, you just talk to people. However, the underlying AD&D rules like taco remaining confusing. The game tells you what to do, but not always why the math works that way. 3. Pacing. This introduces gradual progression. Each building in the keep teaches a different mechanic. One for combat, one for magic, one for loot picking. You learn step by step before facing real danger. In Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, my experience in Candlekeep was completely different. It felt like I was an errand boy rather than a hero. I spent the first 20 minutes just walking around. I bought bolts for guards named Flare. I fetched a scroll for an old mage named Firebeat Elvenhair. I retrieved a lost book from a haystack. It was slow, very slow, but looking back, I realized what the game was doing. When I finally entered the storehouse to kill rats, the game had already taught me how to talk, how to trade, and how to manage quest items. By the time I faced the illustrations, combat trainings in Ops Keller, I was ready. It's boring, but it builds confidence. Finally, the modern era. Baldur's Gate 3. Larian Studios removes the need for manuals and breaks away from the static classroom feel of Candlekeep. They use contextual tooltips. The tutorial is the natural ship escape sequence. It feels like a high-stakes movie, but it is a carefully designed lesson. The analysis. 1. How do they describe the game? Through context, you don't read a text about jumping in a menu, you approach a gap and the game explicitly shows you the jump prompt. Information is given exactly when needed. Second, is it clear? Especially, it hides the complex D&D 5e math behind a clean UI. It shows you the percentage of success, not the raw dice calculations, unless you check the combat log. 3. Pacing. This is meaningful gradual progression. That game doesn't explain how to short rest immediately. It waits until your characters are damaged or out spell slots. Then it suggests resting. It introduces mechanics as they become meaningful to the player's survival. Now compare that to my first moment in Baldur's Gate 3 on the Nautiloid ship. On the ship. It wasn't a cave and it wasn't a library. It was a war zone. Dragons were attacking the ship. The floor was burning. My very first interaction wasn't fetching a book. It was deciding. It was deciding whether to save Talking Brain or destroy it. Then I found Shadowheart trapped in Put. The game didn't pause to give me a lecture. I had to figure out the console mechanism right there and the final fight at the helm. It wasn't trying to kill anyone. I was trying to reach transponder before the ship crashed. The 15 turns remaining counter on the screen created real panic. I learned movement and mesh mechanics not because I want to do, but because I had to survive. To conclude, The evolution of tutorials in CRPGs mirrors of the evolution of user experience design. Fallout 1 expected you to be reader. It demanded patience and external study. Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition treated you as a student in safe classroom. Baldur's Gate 3 treats you as an actor in the story. It teaches thought, action, and context. For our homework assignment, these three games perfectly illustrate how the industry moved from R at FM to intuitive design. Thanks for watching.